my gals and pals. You ready?
Yes.
All right. And well, it's already recorded anyways, but whatever. All right, hands up. We're gonna do this in 3, 2, 1. Man, the internet lag never gets old. But welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Fulfilling Destiny podcast. It is now 10:40. We're gonna round up 10:45 a.m. in the morning in San Diego, California, and I'm here with yet these recurring guests because I love these individuals and I want them to be back as often as I want. So I'm gonna do. So we were back with. Let me look at the last name order. Oh my god. Okay, Nicole Deis. Deis.
Yep.
Deis, right. I was like, ooh, that's bad. Nicole Deis.
Yes.
And Elise Gary. They're back here again to do the thing that we wanted to talk about for a couple weeks now. Is talking about accessible menstrual products, the different kinds, and some of the other things that we don't really think about when it comes to menstruation. Okay, and slight trigger warning here. This will also involve talks of individuals who are transitioning and also to individuals who may not be as comfortable with inserting some of these products inside of them for whatever reason. We just want to say that this is meant to be educational, informational, and this will be in video format so you can all see these products. And no, we are not sponsored by any of these companies who make these products.
If they want to.
I was about to say, but you can.
You can. But like I said, this is supposed to be just educational because not everybody really knows these products as well as they think they should. And also because every person's body is different, right? Big or tall, short, a little bit on the heavy side, a little bit on the little slimmer side. So it really just depends on what your body needs, and you need to find the right products that fit best for you, because if not, then there's going to be some accidents and some stained pants, and we don't want that. We don't want that because it's a pain to clean. Not that it's embarrassing, it's a pain to clean. Like, trust me, getting those things out of jeans.
I'll tell you the secret: hydrogen peroxide.
I don't have hydrogen. I'm baking.
You have to have hydrogen peroxide if you're a woman and on your period. It cleans up every little mishap that comes your way.
Mm-hmm. Are you good there? Okay. Yeah, no worries. All right. So, first things first. Let's talk about what menstruation is, loosely. So, how do we start? You call it. I'm gonna period. No, it's the official start of the period. You call it your first period, the menarche. Menarche?
Oh, I've never heard that. I always thought it was your menstrual cycle.
That's essentially what you call it. But when I was learning it in, I don't know which biology class it was. It might have been high school or whatever. But it's essentially what you have your first period as you're transitioning into puberty. So you can have it as young as 9 years old, even younger, depending on genetics and all that stuff, or you can have it as late as 16 years old. But it's essentially your first period that you will ever go through. And I don't know about you two. Luckily, mine was at home, and I didn't have to do that awkward public, like, I guess, like, meltdown of like, oh my god, what's happening to me. So luckily I was at home and my mom had a pad. And luckily, I know we referenced it before that we know that there's a sticker in the back and you put it on your undies. And if it has wings,
I feel attacked. It's okay.
I don't know if I just realized I'm talking about this on my podcast. I don't have actually. I have my over the night bag. Okay, demonstration time. This will be wasted, but it's for the sake of demonstration. All right. So anyway, so you start at some point, a cisgendered woman will have their first period, right? Unless they decide to transition later on. Okay, so we'll just start first. Cisgender woman has her first period. It's not painful unless you have cramps, because cramping is a thing. But essentially, it's just a very uncomfortable wetness. And no, it doesn't mean you're peeing. It's just you feel wet and a little uncomfortable, maybe a little sticky because blood does coagulate and comes out in clumps. And that just happens. Your body is flushing out the uterine lining so it's refreshed and ready in case you were trying to conceive a child. Right?
Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Beautifully
Bio
said.
101. Good
Bio
job.
101. It's a very simple process of how I think is one of the coolest parts of human bodies, of one way that we could literally clean ourselves out without actually having our hands do it necessarily. And this is just something that I was taught in classes. If you are a cisgender woman and you are cleaning yourself like in the shower, or if you have a bidet, there is no need to really insert anything inside of you when it comes to cleaning yourself out. Warm water is more than enough. If you're worried about odors and other things, it usually tends to be diet, right? Tends to be diet or any other things, but if anything, it could be handled with some like food changes, more water, or that might just need to be something that you need to talk with your physician. If it is anything else, that is none of the other things about it, right? So
yeah,
like I said,
your body has like a natural pH, and everyone smells different because everyone's body is different.
Yeah.
And many gynecologists will tell you that you don't really have to buy into the products that tell you that you need to smell a certain way, or you need to look a certain way, or your beautiful triangle needs to be a certain way. It is totally fine. Yes, I'm using euphemisms.
Yeah. But essentially,
it happens. It happens naturally, and it regulates itself. And so, if you do that excessively, like douching, if you do that excessively, it's going to mess up your natural pH, and also can increase your chances of a yeast infection. So those are not fun. They hurt.
Just do that. Yeah, just let it do its thing. And then I don't know, someone mentioned this to me before. Also, this is just in general, if you're gonna wipe front to back, not back to front. Just putting it out there, some people don't know for whatever reason, but it's just for the sake of cleanliness, and you want to give yourself the least amount of bacterial crossover for whatever reason. Do not right back to front. It might seem like a normal thing to do. However, your rectum could be lingering with other things, right? I mean, feces come out. You don't want that coming into your front. That's just it. Okay. All right. That topic over. But anyways, like I said, your body is already good at naturally shedding some of those things. Like our skin sheds, our hair sheds. It'll come back. Same thing with the uterine wall. Until at least once a month. All right. And then from there, how menstrual cycles work, they do range from anywhere from like 2 days up to 14 days. And when we say it like that, is that depending on your lifestyle, your genetics, your weight, and yes, like things like race too, your flows could be completely different. Like I had a very active lifestyle growing up, so mines were heavy and they lasted forever, and most in like 9 days. And that means I could go through products like these, like I could go through 4 of these a day, which is really annoying because that's like 1 pack gone within 2 days. So I would need at least 3. That's kind of frustrating on my wallet, and then obviously my parents' wallet when they were paying for it, because I made no money at the age of 12. So, but that could be different from woman to woman, or those who are menstruators. It could differ from woman to woman, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. So that's why sometimes it's hard to ask advice, because no one is actually the same, and it depends. It depends on a lot of things. But the most important part about being on your menstrual cycle is that you just need to be prepared, because you don't know when. You could time it to a T, but it's not always accurate. But if you have a calendar, or you're like you have some like mind juju power, and you're just like, oh, I can feel it in the force, it's coming. Listen to your body. Your body will tell you that something is on the horizon. You need to be extra ready for it. So that means, if it means like switching from your skirts to more of your pants and shorts, and make sure every part of you is covered, then you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So since I'm the one who uses pads, shall I go first then?
Yeah.
Well, also with keeping track of your menstrual, there's also some really great apps too that are amazing.
Yeah.
So that way, when you go to your doctor's office, you're not in
Oh,
that
right.
question when they're like,
When
"When
was
was
your
your
last-"
last cycle?"
There it is.
That is always like the toughest question of my life to answer. And I start, oh, well, do you have a calendar? Do you have this? And now with the app, I'm like, the date started or the date ended. I got both for you. So
Perfect.
that's
Okay.
I was just gonna say that would be that's been a game changer for me at least.
Oh yeah, especially if you're going through the doctors alone or with
Yes,
a
because I
parent.
always want to know.
Because if after that question, the follow-up question is, are you sexually active?
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that you're pregnant?
Yep.
If then, did you take cannabinoids? I think I said that right. Or cannabis, right?
Oh,
Cannabis,
yeah.
alcohol, or any other drug out there, Tylenol, Zyrtec, not sponsored by these companies anyways. But those are some of the questions because we have as females, we need to be more aware of it because there are more rapid changes in our bodies than in in comparison to cisgender males. It's a little bit more complex, so it needs to be more monitored just for health, especially if you are going through adolescence or puberty, right? From the ages of 12 up until you're 18, 19, right? So it's just something to be careful for. Like Nicole said, if you would prefer to use an app just to make sure you know when you start, when you end, that's great. It's perfect for doctor appointments. But if you're really good at memory and you can like check your receipts, like when did I buy my products? That is also a good way too. I actually never use the app, so I just kind of I just count or check my receipts on like my phone. Like, all right, when did I buy pads? Like, if I bought it that day, I probably started that day. But it is what it is. All right, as the one who uses pads out of this trio right here, informational meeting time. All right, demonstration. I don't know which product. I don't know which brand this is, but I think this is You by Kotex, not sponsored by You by Kotex, by the way. So this is, it comes in very nice orange paper. It's not always like this. It comes a little bit more discreet. It could come in black. It could come in colors like orange, green, blue, the freaking rainbow, quite literally. But I believe these are overnight because yes, unfortunately, most times when I'm at least on my period and I use pads, I do leak overnight because obviously you're lying flat, and if you know how your bum works, if this is the vaginal opening and this is your butt, liquid clings to surface, so then it will like trail down, and then you leave marks on your bed. So I recommend, if those who prefer using pads overnight, have a spare towel that it's going to be easily scrubbed or bleached under you, just in case. If not, or wear safety shorts to keep it from staining your pants or your other night shorts. Right. So, anyways, that's just my insert. But yeah, so you open it. No, I do not have like spare undies for this. So you open it. It's great. It's actually, oh wow, they even give you the time. How lovely. It's for 10 hours. Honestly, I recommend you change it more often than the 10-hour mark. I usually change it like 3 to 4. Every 3 to 4 hours I change, but that's just my personal preference. Depending on how your flow is. Again, know your body, and if you feel questionable, change it. If you even have to question it, just change it. Right? Okay, so these have wings. So after you peel off this lovely thing, if you peel it off, these are wings that could cling to your undies of choice or your period panties by choice, and they wrap around, and then you're essentially covered from back to front. How lovely. I would drip coffee on this, but I think that's a little too graphic. So there's no need to do that. I'm sure for those who still watch commercials these days, it's kind of like a Bounty towel. You just drip on it, you wipe it. Oh wow, it's gone. Surprise. But we all know those commercials, okay? Don't lie to me.
Yes,
Don't lie to me.
yes. Where they put a quarter on there and it lifts. Yes.
But these are supposed to be a very easy way to catch your period if you prefer not to have something inserted inside of it. This is just my personal preference. But these are pretty great, easily disposable. How you should dispose of it is that if you have, say for instance, you have this still lying around, keep it lying around. If this is used or soiled, just roll it up so the sticky part is out. So then it sticks into the napkin, and you toss it into the feminine waste basket that's usually next to the toilet paper, at least in American bathrooms. All right, so then it's discreet, and then you can walk out and nobody will know unless they're listening into you. Why would you do that anyway?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
okay.
another little tip is when you use the Fresh Pad, you can use the Fresh Pads wrapper.
Right, Fresh Pads wrapper to wrap
that
it
way
in.
You don't come out with anything that you might not want to.
Exactly. Or if you don't, for whatever reason, you don't have that wrapper, or you're already bunched it up, and it's essentially you just use
toilet paper.
Toilet paper. It's fine. The custodial staff who does have to pick it up eventually, they already know. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just it will be disposed of at some point. So no one's just lingering around looking for someone, to be on their period. It's kind of creepy. Don't do that.
Please do not flush it down the toilet.
Don't flush it down the toilet.
Do not flush it down the toilet. I know there's signs out there. I know people are like, it doesn't matter. It will clog the toilet.
It's
just
not,
like putting in lots of tissue, lots of toilet paper. It will clog. Do not do that.
And it's not biodegradable.
Yes.
And the reason why some of the water is polluted is because some feminine hygiene products got flushed, and some of the tampons, even pads, and even cups, they mix with the water, and the water is kind of gross. Well, we'll just put that. It's just no, right? But that's the pad insert. But what I want to know is, since I never use these products, is tampons and cups. Tampons and cups. And then I'll explain why Fulfilling Destiny only use several of these products and not all of them, so I don't forget. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Well, one thing is, since we're recording this podcast on the 16th, a few days, I would say like a week and a half has passed. I'm going to assume a lot of people watch Big Mouth on Netflix, and even though I am not sponsored by Nick Kroll, they do take in like the season 4, they do talk about periods and using a tampon for the first time and what that's like, because a lot of people and a lot of POCs have been raised of, we're not sticking anything inside of us, because if you do that and you're a virgin, you will ruin your virginity. That is not true. Not how it works. Not how it works. And not everyone is born with a hymen, so not how it works.
It stems from patriarchy. We'll put it that lightly, right? Stems from patriarchy and trying to keep women from acting out on their personal desires as much as they want to, and they are entitled to, because you could do, and we're using the euphemism here, you could do whoever you want and do whatever you want to yourself, and in no way does tampons stop you from doing so. You're just on your period. Like, come on, grow up, right? We're all adults here. So, all right. Anyway, sorry. Elise, continue.
No worries. But using a tampon is really helpful. Feel like you don't like using pads, because me personally, I had a really, really heavy flow until I got on birth control because of my PCOS. So it would always stick, and it would feel like a diaper up against me, and I did not like that feeling, and having to pull it down from the front, and did anyone see me, and pulling it down from the back, and it's like, does it look like I'm digging in my butt? Because I'm not digging in my butt, but it totally looks like it. So yeah, no, very uncomfortable. But just like with pads, tampons have different sizes, and it all depends on your flow, and so it can range from light to, I have Super Plus, because my flow is really, not sponsored. My flow is really, really heavy, and so I use the Super Plus one. Do
you mind wasting one for the sake of demonstration?
I do not. So
okay, cool.
So it comes in a wonderful little baggie. I do not know who this is, but we're just gonna go ahead and open this up. And so you can go ahead and open it up. Depending on the company, They'll come in like plastic applicators like this, or they'll come in paper applicators. So it all depends. Paper applicators are great because those are faster to, you know, degrade in the landfills than plastic. And some come without an applicator. But if it's like your first time, or you just don't feel comfortable touching yourself, then an applicator would be the best bet. I know
but
usually
also,
the question.
Don't touch the top before you insert it in yourself as you're.
Sorry. What? Why would you touch? Somebody play that to me. Sorry, this is
He knows exactly what I'm saying.
I'm like, because I'm just like with the tips of it, and because like I'm just like, okay, because I just do things with my hands. As like a college major, I just
can I see that? Can you do like the whole YouTuber thing where you're just like behind?
There you go.
Okay.
Oh,
so
it's
you know,
honestly. Okay, here we go. Full disclosure.
Defect
disclosure. I have a period go bag just in case I cannot buy my period cup. So this tampon has been in here for years. It has been squished under books and stuff like that. This bag is just like, just in case.
There you go.
So it's not supposed to be cracked.
It's not supposed to be cracked. It is not. So let me go from the other side.
And then when you open it, you never want to touch the part that's going to go inside your body. You would open it from the insertion part.
So, okay. So
and you want to do it just for like cleanliness purposes.
Exactly.
Because, you know, some people don't wash their hands before they go into the bathroom. So, you know, your hands are not as clean as you are putting that into you. So, you know, so for simple purposes, what you would do here is, I just know so fast, Nicole. Thanks.
Love it.
So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to find a very comfortable position on the toilet or squatting on the floor, whatever feels most comfortable to you. So let's say, because sometimes you may not, someone may be in the bathroom and you're just in your room. Go ahead and do it. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So you want to find a comfortable position to ankle it. And then once it is inside, I would say like right about here, this is like maybe like half an inch in. So once it's inside, you just go ahead and push the bottom part and it inserts itself inside of you. And voila, it is done. And then once it's inside, well, it's not inside my body, so I have to take it off. But once it's inside, this part just falls off. And then this string part right here just lays inside of your underwear. And so when it's time to take it out, you just tug on the string and it comes out. The reason why the string is there is because it's not going to get lost in there. A lot of people think that tampons will get lost in your vagina. That is not how it works.
No, not unless something like if it's actual. I'm assuming I could be completely wrong. Unless there's a defect, it shouldn't go anywhere.
It's not going to get lost just the way the body's built. It's not going to leave your uterus.
Yeah, because like there's a top part.
Yeah, there's a top part, and you're squeezing onto it.
In that little cavity. So, like,
exactly.
You know, worst comes to worst, you know, like some tampons come without the string. Some do. And so if you're not comfortable with those, you know, don't use them. Use the ones with the string. But if you do feel comfortable with them and you're just like, oh, it's not immediately where I can feel it when I stick in a finger or two, then, you know, what you'd want to do is squat down so that way it kind of like pushes it down, and then you can stick up, or you can lay on your back and then take it out. That's another way too. But because there is a wall, it's just a small little cavity, like think of it like a cup. And, you know, a cup has an end base to it. That is like your vagina.
There is an end.
I
would put it upside down, but I have
I'll do that.
I have coffee in it and I don't want to spill it. But yeah, so
yeah. And so, you know, that's important. There's also panty liners. So if you're like, you know, if you're spotting, or, you know, it's like the last few days, it's just a little bit smaller. I'm looking at my period go bag to see what I have in here.
Oh no, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
personally don't use panty liners only because they don't have wings. Only because, I mean, I'm sure like since the two of you have at least experimented with at least one time in your life, it can literally go. It gets bunched up, so it's like the worst wedgie alive, and then chafing could happen. I'm just like, no, I'm done. Nick it. It's like it might be a waste of time, but I would rather have that than something like riding up those places that I don't need it to be riding up. And I did a lot of contact sports, so getting kicked, like I did martial arts, so getting kicked in the crotch is already annoying enough, and I don't need to give myself a bigger wedgie than I probably already do wearing a growing cup. Like, come on, give me a break. But yeah, so thank you for that thing, like the cracked tampon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to admit I have been a period cup user for 3 years. So like this go bag has not been touched for many years.
Well, like once you use the cup, you're just like bye to everything else. At least for my personal experience, and most people I've talked to or talked me into it. And I'm like, I'll buy you your first one.
Oh, wait. Speaking of which, I forgot to ask. I don't know if you remember, since you've been using a cup for a while at least, shelf life. The shelf life for towns, because it's going inside your body, right? Say it's been sitting on your, like I said, it's been sitting on your shelf for quite some time. You shouldn't be using that anymore, right? Correct?
The thing about tampons, from what I know, is they are not FDA regulated, so they don't have to put down what ingredients are inside tampons. That's why, is it Lolo that started the push of a women's making women feminine hygiene products, and they're 100% cotton, and then they've started to make the back known of what the ingredients are. So I would almost believe that tampons don't have a shelf life because they're not FDA regulated. So I don't know if that's true or not. I would be interested.
I see Nicole typing, so she's
Oh no, not Minnie's typing. I'm not.
Minnie's double checking so we cover our butts. But no, it's completely fine. So I didn't know that. Fine. I didn't know that
because I was going to ask if any of you had a box or a package.
Yeah, see, again, this is the bag randomly in there.
Yes,
I got it.
According to healthline.com, tampon shelf life is about 5 years.
Yeah. But they're still, I just find it interesting that it's a product that goes inside our bodies, but yet they're not FDA regulated.
That is true. That is true. I'm looking at my little mini panty liner one. I don't see.
Oh, here it is.
Expiration date on these.
I'm not sponsored by Always, by the way. Oh, just not Always. Oops, wrong product. Stay Free. I'm not sponsored by Stay Free. Let's see. It says it's made in the U.S. with global materials. That's
it.
Wow, that's actually something that I should look into.
We won't even talk about the fact that there's a luxury tax on them. So it's a luxury for us women or individuals that have their menstrual cycles that we have to pay a luxury tax on these products. It's not a pink tax, it's the luxury tax, which is it's on products that you don't necessarily need, but you need them out of luxury. And we pay that tax here in California.
Ironically, I think you might be right, Nicole.
It's not ironic, it's facts, boo. Just teasing you.
No. It's just wow, I cannot find the ingredients list. I never actually thought about it.
None of these either. But on these, it does have an expiration date. And it expired a year ago. So fun.
Okay, so that's definitely something I didn't think about until now. Until I brought it up. But if you are using, like, for whatever reason, just like you said, you had that just lying around, right? Just in case in emergencies, just like with emergency food, that you might have stored away in like your fire escape bag, earthquake bag, flood bag, whatever bag it is. Make sure to change out your rations and these products because now that we are aware that they're experts. So that's something, you know, the more you know, the more you know.
That is true. And that also proves we don't know everything.
Yeah.
We don't know everything.
It's impossible, but
we're learning together.
We have more knowledge together.
Yes.
But now there's that starting reality that, holy crap, now that makes you think of that some of the products I have lying around. I mean, I guess that could also be the same way if we're going to also include our cisgender male friends here. Also, if you have condoms lying around that you never use, if you're going to be with your partner, no matter who it is, make sure you check your expiration dates as well, because the last thing you want is to accidentally poke holes, or the product is just unusable, and then something is passed between, whether it's going to be STIs, STDs, an accidental pregnancy, or what have you, right? Make sure you check your products that they're usable and they can be used to their fullest extent. No pun intended, right? No pun intended. All right, so so now we know there's things that we learned. There's an expiration date. Some of these products don't have their ingredients list. I guess that's the right way to put it, right? Their full ingredients list, and then we have a luxury tax. I did not know. The only one I know is the pink tax that women, just women, just the general women with an X, have to pay more for some of the products that some of our other counterparts don't have to. Like razors are what, 20 cents more for women than it is for men, or the ones catered to men, and they're I could agree on that, honestly.
I thought what I found real crazy about the pink tax, which I know is off topic, is toys. The same exact toys painted different colors are different prices, and you don't believe it until you actually go and see it with your own two eyes, and you're like, it's eye-opening.
Yeah. Or maybe this is another different segue to think of deodorants. Very scented deodorants. Like, I know that deodorants, it really just doesn't matter. It just depends on if you want antiperspirant or just anti-odor. I personally didn't like using floral scents for whatever reason. It just never suited me. I mean, I would prefer doing the all natural route, something that wouldn't mess up whatever natural scent that I have. The men's or at least men products, so like, not sponsored by these, right? So like Dove for men, or Old Spice, Degree for men. You know, there's honestly, just have the product that fits best for you. You don't need to feel so classified to choose a certain one. Whatever fits your preference or fits your nose, because I usually go by my nose. If it smells good to me, I'm probably gonna pick it. Doesn't matter which one it is. So my mom has given me looks because I use Axe. But it works. I don't smell like a daisy, and I don't want to smell like a daisy. So that's just my answer on it. All right, back to menstrual products. So since you two ladies, sorry, my friends here, who use cups, like I said a couple weeks ago, I had no idea that a Diva cup existed until this year. So can someone else, what happened? How did this happen? How did Diva cups started to become a little bit more popular in women these days, or menstruators these days?
Well, I'll speak for myself. Well, Diva Cup is a name brand like Tampax and stuff. So I personally don't have a Diva Cup. I have other brands, but pretty much with the cup, first of all, it's good for the environment. There's that check mark. Second of all, I know exactly what's going in my body. So there's that. And also I pay for one, and then that's it. So I don't have to pay the luxury tax over and over again. And the best part is it lasts from anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. So you can sleep the night through. You can be in class all day. So you also don't have to change it as often, which is the things that I like for it myself. Just I am a heavy bleeder, so I usually couldn't even make it through the night without having to change or have an accident. And then also with the doing the double tampon and maxi pad. Those maxi pads are movers and shakers, even with the wings on, especially when you're sleeping. So I'd wake up and I was like, I covered all my bases, and
there's still something there.
So then when I was introduced to the menstrual cup, and I was nervous and timid because it is scary trying something new, and I already knew how to handle my situation with the game. And then once I did the menstrual cup, the first 2 times you use it, there's a little trial and error, but bam, once you finally connect, for myself, there was no going back. If you give me 5 to 10 minutes and you tell me you're on your period, I'm going to sell the cup to you.
Love it.
But I also know it's not for everyone, and that's the beauty of having different options. But for me, it's hands down the best thing for me.
Question.
Yes.
So are the cups also, it's not one size fits all, right?
No, in fact, I have 2 different ones.
Cool. And those are clean, right?
Yes.
I know there. It's just a joke.
This one is collapsible, so it's easier to travel. So if you want to take this, of course I can't.
Do it now.
I don't know how those YouTubers do it. Okay. And then you have it in this thing.
Oh, that looks like a contact lens holder.
So if you do go and you're using this and you need to change it with this, it's pretty easy to swap, except for I can't put this back in there. But at least I can have something with me if I need to handle business, if you will.
Yeah. Okay, so the sizes, how do you say sizes for cups? Like, you know how different mugs have different, like,
yes.
So it says it on there, like small,
medium,
large,
right?
You know, and it's not like, you know, you're getting something that's like 5 inches. It's not. It's not that at all.
It's not those types of material for recreational
They usually ask you if you've had a baby or not. And there's one if you've had a baby and one if you haven't had a baby. So,
yeah, because after you have a baby, you are it's open. It's more open, obviously, because you literally shoved out what's equivalent to
you might have had a C-section, but
or that too.
Your uterus got wider due to holding a baby and carrying a baby.
Yeah. So I actually have the 2 different sizes.
Oh, yes. Show me.
I did not deliver a child, and I do not plan to deliver a child. I want to be a foster parent.
Fair enough.
I have the small one, which is for people who do not use. Who do not have a baby, who don't use a baby. That's not English. So
why are you measuring tape?
Oh, look at you go!
I do.
Oh wait, hold on.
I love it, Minnie.
Hold on. Okay, just so I have reference. Okay, tell me how many inches.
Play.
So this is 2.5 inches.
You know,
2.5 inches. So if you think about that, that's the size of my finger.
I want you to measure the
my pointer finger.
Do you have the tampon still?
I do.
It's literally the size of my hand.
The tampon that goes beside you is the same.
Oh, I bet that wasn't on accident.
Wow. So we have maths, guys. Sorry,
math.
Everybody, we have maths involved. So
math.
So we got 2.5 inches. So that's actually.
So think of like your pointer finger. Your pointer finger is literally the size of your period cup, or the size of a tampon. And so, like, if that shouldn't really feel uncomfortable. I know for some that is uncomfortable, and that's totally fine. I'm a little bit more comfortable with my body, and some people are not. Some people have not explored their body to figure out what it's like. So that's just me personally.
Okay, so the bigger one.
The big
Not like that. This is a safer work stream.
This one I just bought because it's black, and this one was blue, and these are 2 of my favorite colors. So this one, the mouth is a little bit wider than this one over here, just a little bit. And so as I look inside, it holds about the same amount. So this one is supposed to hold about 15 milliliters, And then this one is a little bit over 15 milliliters.
Like 20, 25.
So this one should be about, sorry, I said cup on there instead of the amount. So this one's going to be about 18 milliliters, and this larger one. And then this bigger one is going to be about 16 milliliters. It's a small difference. Bring out my wonderful measuring tape, and we are going to measure. Would you look at that?
What's it say? 3 inches?
This is about 2.75.
Okay.
So
that is
it's just
the size of my middle finger, quite
There
essentially.
you go.
Just a little bit bigger.
I'm not flipping the bird.
It's covered. It's just a little bit wider in size when you have it side by side. So when I'm wearing a black shirt. Yes.
Question. Since I am a noob when it comes to the lip, right? The lip of that is supposed to be pressed against your uterine wall.
So insertion is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Because it's like, I'm assuming, right, if we're just using euphemisms, right? We have a bottle, right? This is like literally it. I'm assuming the cup, if this is where the wall is, the wall, right? So you don't lose anything inside your body, because that's a myth. It's a myth, all right? When it goes up, does it stop at like literally this purple line? So if it was done that way, okay? Because I don't know. Teach me.
So Nicole, feel free to jump in at any point if I'm explaining.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, all you do is you almost do this and then this, and then it pops like that inside you, and then you go. The biggest thing is you don't really want it to touch your wall, because then you're gonna feel cramping. So it kind of it's almost like a tampon. It just sticks right there, and pretty much this is just gonna catch everything that's releasing from your body.
Okay, so it doesn't have to go all the way up.
No, I personally, that was kind of the trial and error. If you insert it too high up, it'll be kind of touching the uterus, kind of like an IUD, if you will. And then you're going to feel that cramping as if someone's poking your uterus, which is not a fun feeling. So that's like one of the biggest things. If you feel cramping, it's up too high, and you want to pill on the top and lower it a little bit. I also like to send my friends a diagram of a uterus and show them where it should go, because it kind of is a sweet spot, but it's also made to go into that sweet spot unless you have too much, I hate to say the word force, but I don't know how.
No. It's something to think about, because
but if you're having cramping, it's just up too high. It should not be touching your uterus wall. It should be. Because you also you should easily be able to take it out. Like, you don't have to go up and go for a search. It comes out very easily. So but the first two times you're gonna have to. But once you're there, it really will change your whole life. It's crazy how much it's changed.
No, it's fine. So now I want to talk about, since you first.
Well, I don't know, because that's me. I'm next to you on mine.
Well, she's here. Sorry, she's here on my left, and you're at the bottom. It's like, all right, whichever one I'm pointing to, whoever I'm pointing to, please.
I just want to say that, like, at least the ones that I have, from what I understand, period cups are made out of silicone. So this is it's safe to use and safe for your body. Unless you have a silicone allergy, then you can, if that's the case, then you can go ahead and look for something that would be, like, more helpful for your body, because a lot of people are allergic to latex and use, like, lambskin condoms. So it'd be the same thing for your vaginal health. So Nicole showed it, and I guess for people who are listening to the podcast, so, like, this is how you insert it. So if it's open,
Oh,
And
sorry.
then if you want
No,
to
no, no,
That
it's okay.
not
It's okay.
watching. Hello.
No, no.
it's
Since this
okay.
will be on Spotify and other podcast networks, it's aside from the YouTube video of where we show how to kind of do, because we can't actually show it inserting in ourselves. That's that will be flagged. Absolutely, will be flagged. But for the audio experience, we will give you the best. I can't say it, like as best as we can. We're gonna describe how you're supposed to insert it audibly. All right, okay, go ahead, Elise.
So what you're going to do is you're just going to take the period cup. Usually I just like to cup it inside my hands, just right where my fingers are. And so when you push it together, it kind of folds down, just right there at the little ring. And then you're going to want to pinch it together. So it's like a C or a U shape. And then once you insert it inside and let it go, it pops open. And so it has the little basin of the actual period cup. There's this little bit of a thicker wall. And what that is, that holds on to the uterine wall that you have. And so since it just holds on naturally inside, it doesn't go anywhere. And it's the same thing like when you insert in a tampon. It doesn't go anywhere because it holds. It's this beautiful muscle that contracts. And so it just holds it for you. And
also,
so
another sorry. No, go.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wonder how the period cup has changed my life. I also have an IUD, and sometimes the period cup can take out your IUD. So you're not supposed to use it when the IUD is first inserted, and you need to wait 2 to 3 months before you start using. That was a good disclaimer, and I was really bummed that that's not even on their packaging. And I sent them an email just in case, because I thought that's good to know. If I didn't happen to go to my doctor and it was the perfect storm, I might not have even double checked. So you're supposed to make sure your IUD, if you do both, just be safe.
Okay, so that's...
Sorry to interrupt. I thought...
No, that's actually pretty interesting.
That's super helpful.
I have more questions for that after, but go ahead, Elise. No, it's curiosity's sake. Okay, it's curiosity's sake. Okay, go ahead, Elise.
And so if you're afraid that, let's say like once you insert it and it's just a little, so say like it's a little bunched up and it didn't release all the way, just stick your finger. We know that the pointer finger is the size of it. So if you just do a little twirl, and if you feel that if it's not there, like open on the wall, then just take it out and try it again.
Okay.
That's it. And then, so it has little holes at the top. And then those little holes, of course, is just for, air. But also because you're not supposed to leave it in for like 2 days straight unless your period is that light. And so that's one of the things is that if it's not perfectly inserted when you do the finger check, and starts to overfill, it'll come out of these little holes on the side. And so, just like you would, take out a tampon or a pad, that's when you want to dump your cup. And I have found using the period cup, I dump less. And so dumping. When I take out my period cup, so you can either take it out using 3 fingers or pulling on the little tab that's attached. And you take it out and then you just pour it over into the water. And since it's silicone, it falls off. You're supposed to wash it, but if you don't, I use, not sponsored, I use Down There Away by Good Wife. It is hold on. Down There Away.
Hold on. I'm just, at some point, as a joke, I will go back through this video and count physically how many times the 3 of us have mentioned we are not sponsored by these products as a joke. And I will post it on this.
Just have a not sponsored count. Just going.
I will commit to that joke. Guaranteed. I will commit to it. Anyway, sorry. Continue. So you have Down There wipes to help clean it if you don't have.
So if you don't have, if you don't have like baby wipes, or if you're not able to, rinse it out, like say like you're at school or you're at work and you don't want to like hobble out of the stall with your underwear down, rinse this thing out, and then put it back in. Use some Down There wipes, or they're called feminine wipes. but I appreciate that they're using down there. So kind of move away from the wipes just for people who do menstruate and do not identify as female. And so that's really helpful. Or use a tissue. Worst case scenario, if you don't have that, use a tissue, wipe it off, put it back in. Totally fine. And then you're supposed to boil it in hot water. You're supposed to boil it in hot water just to sanitize it. And if you can't do that, say you are maybe living in a place where you may not have like a lot of access to hot water, worst case scenario, wash it in the shower with you. That's what I would say.
Saving water, kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
Also, I would assume, right? Don't if you're using like a stove or or something like that, do not use anything that you probably would eat in it, like a pot. So use something like you have a separate kitchenware for it if you're going to boil it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making
you just boil it for minutes, and it helps with like keeping.
It cut out. How long do you boil it for?
Just like 5 to 10 minutes. It just keeps the cup clean. It helps it from staining. And you can use, say, like a period cup. They have like period cup wash. If you don't want to do that, or if that's just not in your budget, it's okay. There are other options. So yeah, the shelf life of a period cup depends on. Can last
cutting out.
Up to 10 years.
Okay, up to 10 years.
Up to 10 years.
Oh no.
And then the one that I use says it's about 5.
Oh no, it's cutting like in and out. Okay, so I got 10 years, so you can keep it for 10 years, and then after that it went like up and down.
The one that I use says about 5 years.
Okay.
And then you would dispose of it, and then that's it. And you would buy another one. And so the one that I bought, because Diva Cup, as Nicole said, is a brand. Theirs are usually $40 or more. And if that is not in your financial budget, and when I bought it at the time was not in my financial budget, I bought a cheaper one, and that's the 2 that I have, and it's super helpful. It comes in a cute little bag. And so I just take this and seal it up and go about my business. And it's great. And I only spent about $12.
The CVS coupon, I waited until I got my 40% off. I didn't get Diva Cup, I got Intima. And then I found this company called Jump. All of these not sponsored, just to keep up. And Jump, theirs are $6 or $7. And honestly, it's been the best one that I've ever used.
Pick your preference.
Yes, I've never used a Diva Cup. That's just I think the pioneer of menstrual cups was Diva Cup. And now I think the more people that use it, the more people are liking it. And so now the companies are coming up to stepping up their game as well. Kind of similar to now they have organic tampons. And I just find it interesting because how is it organic compared to other ones? And then it's just interesting to see all the years we've been putting up or putting things in our bodies or touching our bodies that have caused harm. I mean, TSS, is it right? TSS, toxic shock syndrome. And it's like how many things that we have to use, that we have no choice, honestly, to use, have such a crazy warning like that. And I'm wondering if there's anything that men have to use that have such a crazy warning that is life and death in a sense. So not to get all gender on you, but those are the things that upset me.
No, it is
luxury tax and pink tax. Just like how women are, while they are on their period, they're not, back in our history, we weren't allowed to leave the house or continue our education, or you get to like another part of your village. And so it's just interesting to me that it's 2020 and we're still facing these same setbacks in a sense, not setbacks, but the stigma that revolves around our period. So it's, to me, it's blood, whether it's from my knee, my arm, or my vagina. It's the same blood. It's the same blood.
Just that's a different way of doing it. No, honestly, you're right. It's something that we don't think about, because like you said, like just today I just found out that there are no ingredients on some of these things, so that could probably be a good what's the right word? It's a good incentive to try to use other products, so like these cups, right, in comparison to other things. I think because I also heard about TSS and that one story of that one lady who had to have her leg amputated because she had that, and it led to something quite nasty. But I think that's probably one of the reasons why I was dissuaded from using something like a tampon. As I stick to pads. Like, yes, it's definitely more messy. I could agree on that. But it's definitely something I think it's less invasive, and I'm less likely to catch something that is very, very scary. And I don't think. Well, also I'm looking at the perspective as a cisgender woman. I don't know what that's like for my male counterparts. If they have anything like that when it comes to their reproductive health, other than the uncomfortable morning wood or popping a woody during class. That's it. We're just putting it loosely like that. I'm just saying, okay? From the lens of a cisgender woman, I don't think, at least for me, I don't really see that as like a one-to-one issue to our male counterparts. If we're just gonna be completely honest. But now, because since we did talk about all of these products, we're gonna talk about what these products could mean to those who are experiencing housing insecurity, right? So we did talk about before that some of these products are literally essential for those who are suffering housing insecurity, those who are experiencing homelessness. Unfortunately, though, as much as I know that you two love your cups, we don't offer them when we do give our dignity bags to these individuals. Like you said, because of two reasons alone, it's the cleanup, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you do have wipes, and we have access to hot water or ways to clean it without potentially bringing outside pathogens inside your body, because it does go inside, right? Unfortunately, not everyone who is on the streets right now has access to hot water, especially now since we're coming to a winter. Heating places is going to be quite difficult. And here in San Diego, we're housing a lot of individuals right now, 6,000 people ish, in the San Diego Comic-Con Center right now.
I love how it's Comic-Con Center for you.
Convention Center. Sorry, I only know it's whatever. Anyways,
it's okay.
I'm looking at your background.
Don't just.
You're so cute. I love it.
Anyways, but like I said, if maybe then, since they have been housed there, yes, it would have been an option for that short period of time. But since I've heard that they're considering closing down because they're not getting paid for it, it's just out of the goodness of their hearts to house these individuals, they would eventually have to be moving out, right? And like I said, because they don't have access to water, not everyone does. It's gonna be hard to clean. And then, as we all know, if you don't clean your like even with hands, if you don't wash your hands before you insert something in, you don't even know where your hands has been, and who knows when it's been the last time you got to wash your hands, even with soap, and is it, which water did you use, the fountain water, or is it like a nice tap water fountain from a nice hotel room? It's literally different. So unfortunately, we don't offer those as an option. Yes, there are cleaner, safer, and then it's more eco-friendly. It's just not something that we're unfortunately unable to offer. However, when we put in our digging bags, we do offer these different sizes of tampons and max pads, whichever one that they would prefer. So we do have those options for them, and then I would like to think that they will be disposed of appropriately. Another issue about this is just a different segue, but the trash issue in San Diego, they don't get picked up enough, so the trash is overflowing, and then sometimes that's where you toss your used menstrual products and then they flow down the drain, they clog up the sewage, and then it's a whole different type of eco mess and into the water, and then obviously into our landfills. But until we could find a different way to support our community members who are experiencing housing insecurity, unfortunately it's just not useful. And it's also something of privilege, because it could be expensive, unless if you went high end, like I said, the brand, not sponsored, we're not bashing on your company, just work with me here, it's a little expensive. It's also financial privilege. But you can get something as cheap as $7.99, but it's usable. But like I said, unless you have access to water or wipes that you could use daily and not think about it. Yeah, no, of course. About those for those things, can't use them for now. And so that's why these donations and bags, these dining masks, are very important to our company. So if you do have some, make sure you check your expiration boxes, by the way. If you like to donate yours, please send them our way, or monetary donations. Or if you want to offer your time to host packing parties to put all these products together, that'd be great. And it's not just pads and tampons. It could be disposable wipes, like the Down There wipes. Just make sure that we check your expiration dates, because I think that's probably the most important thing I need to think about now. It's just when do these products expire? Because I don't want to use anything that's not within its usage, because that's a different type of rabbit hole that we don't need to dive into. I don't want to think about it. But if anything else,
you offer a really good point, because we do have a lot of privilege. I am doing this podcast over Zoom at home. So I have a laptop, I have Wi-Fi, I have a place to stay. And, a lot of people may not have that same ability. And so, yes, that is very true. I would say, for people though who may have some of these abilities that we do, saying living in a home or an apartment or some stable housing of some sort, or even if you're couch surfing, I would still suggest to get a period cup. I would say my personal reason is because of how expensive pads and tampons can get.
Oh yeah.
And so
much.
If you have to worry about spending $20 on pads and then $20 on food, you're gonna spend the $20 on food. But if you just take that one time to go ahead and I spend $8 or $12 on my period cup, and I still use them. If you just do that one-time thing, that the amount of money that saves you a month, because if you go through a bag of pads a month, $20 a month, that adds up.
Yeah.
And so, that money can be used somewhere else. And if you do have financial issues, financial insecurity, I would say, if you have the ability to reach out to someone, put it on your Christmas list. Put it as a birthday present.
That's completely fair, because you make that interesting point. Even variations of housing insecurity, you could literally be on those extreme spectrums. You could be literally on the streets. Or you could be essentially we'll use this loosely, college student couch surfing because their apartment got leased or they couldn't find a place to stay. So it really just depends on your budget, and it depends on what you have access to. So for those who have a little bit more access, I'm assuming it's just try it out to save yourself a couple bucks instead of shelling out. I wasted so much money on. To be fair, I did the more expensive route, but it's all personal preference.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest take-home message: is everyone should do what's comfortable for them, but also possibly be open
to try something
to other aspects.
Yeah. I need to get my hands on one just so I could say that I tried. So that I could say that I've at least tried it, and then to hilarious results when I do, if someone actually give that one for me for Christmas, because I will try it, and then I will. The next time when we come back, I will let you know the shenanigans that has probably went down, because I know sorry, Jazel May, if you're listening, because I know you have to listen to this podcast as part of your project. I know you have a hilarious story, but I can't share it because that's a personal story. But there are some shenanigans I could go with using any of these products, and we all have some, to various degrees of hilarious shenanigans. But
yes,
yeah. So there's that. So I mean, there's that. It's kind of like actually short, sweet. I say short, but then the past couple, like the episodes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this is 11, have been at over an hour. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna extend the length now.
Quality content. It's quality content.
And then this is like we're talking about just really one little subject without, if you will, the tangents that us like to go on while we're all together.
Well, the tangents are actually something to consider, because like you said, we haven't considered different forms of housing insecurity. We didn't think about, or at least I didn't think about expiration date, how cups work, how tampons work, and how you should do. I didn't know that there's an extra hygiene step to it. Like you can't just do it with having like Cheeto hands. sticking something up there.
Especially not flaming hot Cheetos like that.
No. Oh, actually, now that you mentioned this before, Elise, to our friends who are transitioning,
yes,
something to consider too. I'll let you take it away, Elise, since you're the one who brought it up a while ago before we started.
This perspective is as a cisgender female, but as like a trans ally, I want my trans folks to feel as comfortable as possible. And I know that transitioning is different and is special for everyone. And for those, and everyone's transitioning spectrum is different. There are some who feel like they don't need to medically transition, and there's some who do. There's some who can't afford to medically transition, so they may not be able to afford, testosterone shots or estrogen, shots. It's different for everyone, and we have to respect everyone's process. But for those who are transitioning and still have periods, because that happens, a period cup would be very helpful, because in the men's restroom, the thought is you're not having a period, so why do I need to have this metal trash can in here for you?
Right, yeah.
To throw away a pad. And so a period cup is a really great option.
It's
for
discreet.
You. And it's really discreet. Now I know that involves a lot of, being comfortable with your own body and body parts that you may not be comfortable with. And I completely understand that. So I'm not saying this to push this on anyone. Absolutely not. But I do understand that there are a lot of trans folks who still have these things that they have to go through. And so just as an option to keep your dignity and, to keep it as discreet as possible, a period cup could be helpful. Now there are like there's period underwear. I don't feel comfortable with that because I'm literally bleeding into underwear.
Yeah,
and then you have to like carry around a plastic bag to put it in and then wash that. And if you don't have that ability to wash that as often, then a cup would be a viable option for you. And there's plenty of different alternative methods. Just do a Google search. English. Just do a Google search of alternative period cups, alternative period products. But like I said, everyone's transition process is different. And I would love for us to be more open and with these conversations with trans folks. But again, and I mean that in the sense of where people are more comfortable to have conversations, cisgender people more comfortable talking to trans folks. It's not as like trans folks having to explain to you their transition process, because they don't have to. You're not entitled to that. I'm not entitled to that.
No.
And and that's one of the episodes we have with Saulo talking about that. And so
I'm excited for it to come out this Friday because by the time this episode comes out, Paolo's episode is already out. So another thing that we could reference loosely is that if you are transitioning, we want to, at least as allies, we want to make sure that every aspect of your health is also considered, not just the social aspect like friends and family and support, also your emotional well-being and your physical well-being. And that also means addressing some body dysphoria that they might have, right? So Paolo had made references of like, even as he is comfortable now, he still needs to get checks for some of his parts, just because it just needs to be an upkeep. We can't just ignore it. But like I said, like you said, Elise, that process is different from person to person, and we could only encourage that. We just want them to feel safe and comfortable to talk about it with us, and we try to understand without offending anybody around us. But that's just something to look forward to, especially since I didn't actually consider thinking about our friends who are transitioning when it comes to, especially if you're transitioning from cisgender female to male. I forgot to really consider some of the body change, especially if you're menstruating still, versus if you're doing it. Versus if you had already you prevented it from taking like hormone therapy since the age of like 12. We'll say that like from 12, where you would take hormone therapy to stop estrogen from producing estrogen and progesterone, right, to jumpstart the period cycle. So it's different from person to person. So that's something that we just need to keep our minds open about. So
and
I think it's great that you know so much. Oh, I'm sorry. All zoned out in my thoughts. Well, I'm just so impressed with you too. Just knowing so much information on that aspect and what people have to go through to really become their true self.
It's literally 2 episodes with Paolo and Frankie. That's the only I know. So
it's just I love that, like, once again, just how you all brought to my attention about HIV is now not a death sentence. It's just a different way to survival. And also how now the youth is coming to terms with not everyone is identified with how they were born, in a sense. And it just warms my heart. I actually got the goosebumps listening to you too, because
don't cry. No.
I can cry. I have no makeup on, since I hopped on here. I feel like I'm a meme of like, get on a Zoom call, when they're like, I felt like, hello, what's this thing over here?
You're Alpha. I love it.
But it just warms my heart to hear you two speaking that and being so thoughtful and caring and understanding everyone's individual journey and encouraging and being an ally and standing up and speaking out. It's really amazing to listen to you both. So I just wanted to pat your shoulders. I wish I could give you hugs.
No, virtual hug.
I'm really a hugger when it comes to like words. Like, honestly, if you said this to me in person, I'd probably cry. Like, I'm like that person that goes straight to tears when you hear something like that. But I mean, aside from it's about being open, and maybe it's because we were born in, at least me and Elise, we were born in a generation that's a little bit more open. And then also ask my 13-year-old self, who is jaded, insecure, and definitely closed-minded, that would be a completely different story. But because I have a lot of friends now who actually, if we're going to be completely honest, a lot of my friends started coming out this year or last year to fit their better identities, or to fit who they really truly feel. So it's surprising. It's like not to say it's like, well, it's not like I don't even know you. It's like, no, they were never entitled to tell me their story anyways. I'm just happy that I'm still on your Insta friend list, and I'm able to see that, oh my gosh, you are now like, they look like, you can tell in their eyes. Their eyes are brighter, their smiles are a little wider, maybe a little bit more cheeky. It's like, oh my god, I finally did it. You know, I'm finally safe enough to expose that part of themselves to the world, because I know the world is definitely cruel. We are a little bit privileged to be in California, because definitely I know some of our friends out there or our viewers out there who might be, for for whatever their personal reasons, they need to hide. And you, like, your journey of coming out or your journey of going through whatever you're going through will take time, and we'll be here waiting to hear your story, and then we'll try our best, because we'll try our best to understand, because we're all human. We make mistakes. We make assumptions, because that's how our brain works. I've mentioned this before. Our brain tries to keep as much information as simply as possible. So if it means checking a couple boxes to make quick assumptions about someone, our brain will do that to save us information overload. But that's something that we do need to rework into our social circles, that information overload could be structured, it could be broken down simply, but do it in a way that you're not cutting corners and then making assumptions about somebody's identity or gender or race or what have you. Because like for instance, like Nicole, like, I didn't know what you identified in terms of race. It's like, all right, let's play the game. She looks like this. If she is this, we don't need to do any of that. Just ask.
Yes. Well, I always hate the what are you? I know you're something. And I go, I'm something, that's for sure. So
I get that. I get that. And when I tell people that I'm Black, the look is like of disgust and confused of like, oh, well, I thought you'd be something else or something more exotic. I'm like, first of all, that's offensive.
We do. Okay, it's something about American history and about, again, patriarchy. But it's the exoticism of different groups. Not cool, by the way. I thought, like, okay, we'll use the words Asian persuasion. None of that.
Yeah.
Oh, what? You don't like that term? How weird.
I was about to say, like, Nicole, calm down. No. It's like the only thing exotic about me is my sharp tongue and personality. Other than that, everything else, it's just literally I'm scrubbing it out right now. What's exotic?
Well, I also get like, oh, where are you from? And I go, America, California, San Diego. Because
you want my address?
Yeah, or they're like, my favorite is, what's your nationality? I'm like, American, still American. I'm like, you mean my ethnicity? Where my heritage are from?
It's like, you want to, was it not sponsored by this company, Ancestry.com?
I was just gonna say that. Do you want my tree from Ancestry? It changes every 6 months. I get something else, a new percentage or something. So like, I'm still trying to get connected to royalty, but it hasn't happened. I'm trying.
Or the again,
hopefully those scam emails one day will be real.
Right? Or I'll help you, Prince.
Or the like, you want me to spit in a vial and put it off to 23andMe, not sponsored by that company, by the way. But like I said, it's good to know where your roots are from. So that is something that I would consider doing. I just haven't done it in a while. But that is something to consider. But like, it's something like that just, maybe back then in time, it's just like novelty in rap songs, R&B, like, oh, she's my little mama from somewhere from far away. Like, I get it, but it's still, I don't want to be looked at as like some sort of like
conqueress.
Yeah, or
like a check of a box.
Yeah, or like, it's not like you're a tiger pelt on the bottom of my bed, because that's definitely not where I belong, and I'm not supposed to be like, if you have a deer antler, like, if you're before we get like,
could you imagine?
It's just like, I mean, that is something that between a relationship that we need to talk about, if that is something that you're comfortable describing each other in, like I said, talking is important. But if I said that to any woman or to any man out there, like Big Chocolate Thunder or Jungle Fever or stuff like that, like, I'm pretty sure I would get slapped in public. It's like, who the F are you talking to? Like, I have a person respect me. It's like, yeah, absolutely. I would definitely deserve to get slapped for calling someone out like that in public. Like, no. But definitely, I know that a lot of people don't use these terms anymore. If anything, it's in joking conversations. But back in the day, that's not the case, or it was the case back then. But
I have been called an ebony queen. I have been called that.
Cringy.
I'm not gonna lie. It's very gross.
And
then I'm like, it's a compliment. Like, if I were to call you a stereotypical name, would that be a compliment? Like, but it's different. It's a term of endearment. Like, is it really?
Yeah.
Do I feel
I'm not comfortable? That means it's not a term of endearment, and that goes for any race or anyone. If I'm telling you I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable, and accept that. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, right. Including to that soapbox, like pet names are terms of endearment. There are different. Everyone has their different range of what they could tolerate, right? So baby, honey, wifey, waifu, whatever, stuff like that. It's something that you need to discuss in your own personal relationships, but just straight from using very body.
Well, and I think you said it the most too, is I always say just simply ask. Like,
just ask
your pronouns. Like, I don't mind explaining to you my heritage, and I'm sure both of you don't mind either, because we're proud of it. The thing is I don't want you to come assume or put me, as you were saying, like on the shelf because you wanted this check the box of exotic, when there's, and then also, like, there's just more to me than what my heritage is. That's my structure, if you will, but my being could be something totally different in the sense. Or I even get a lot like, oh, you're from the East Coast. I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you are. And I just like Minnie was saying, like,
if I tell you no,
and I'm just like, oh no, born and raised in San Diego. I mean, I am Italian, so I could see maybe why I have that, if you will, the sharp tongue and quick and things of that nature. But it's just, I always say just simply ask, but also ask in a polite way and not getting like, oh, you're gay. Oh, I thought you were gay. Oh, I knew you were gay. Things of that nature always makes people feel. I'm assuming make people feel uncomfortable. I am a white straight woman, so I understand my privilege, what that comes with.
Yes.
Oh man.
But it's just like, in general, it's just like you can't go asking individuals those types of things unless they want to share with you. And I also feel you don't go, hi, my name's Nicole, I'm a straight white woman either. So there's a fine line of when it's appropriate to ask individuals these questions, I feel. And I just want to commend once again, like, of the you two, just, you guys are just killing it, and I'm so grateful to know you two.
No, honestly, I'm grateful. I'm honestly really grateful too, because of these opportunities to meet. We have at least us three. We have different individuals here. We have one who identifies as straight. We have one. We have one who is non-binary, or doesn't have it. Sorry. What was sorry? I got that completely wrong. I got that completely wrong.
Like, I just like, and honestly, it's interesting journey for myself. I identify as bisexual, but I also feel like I identify as pansexual, and it's an interesting like, because it's very similar, yes, but like one of them like attaches to like there's a binary sense, and I'm like, but I don't believe that, so shouldn't I be pansexual? But I'm like, but this identity is what I've had for so long, and so it's such an interesting journey for myself. And yes, I like,
you don't need to even put labels on everything as well also.
And why do they have to have labels? Why can't we just be people?
Like I said, that's how our brain works. That's how it's annoying that part. It's very primitive of our brains, even up until now, how sophisticated our brains are. It's just like, if you're thinking about it, like in back in the olden hunter and gather days, food not food, the olden times from back where tribal mentality was all that we had, and then when it comes to figuring about what we needed, it's like food or fire, stuff like that. But sorry, didn't get that wrong. But that sorry.
No, it's totally okay. I know because from our last podcast, I talked about my friend who does identify as non-binary and an amazing drag queen, by the way. So
Ooh, I love a good. I miss my drag queens right now.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
If you'd like to reach out to that individual, if she wants to come on, I would definitely love that too. Because
love to reach out to Miss Amber St. James, and if anyone would like to follow a Black trans non-binary bearded queen, follow Miss Amber St. James.
Because I think it's something to consider for a future episode, because I know that even in, like, I know we talked about it with Paolo, but I know that this could also happen in the drag community, is that there is also some problematic things that also should be discussed as well, because you could be we could be drag, but you could also be transphobic, or among other things, but like that's another podcast episode for another day. But
well, but I guess like yes
because I've heard, and I didn't know until I looked it up, and I was like, so that's another hot issue to take a look at.
There's lots of colorism, there's a lot of racism in the drag community, and it's very sad, but that's how our society is. But I'm gonna circle back because that's what I do.
It's quite all right.
But like, I guess like we've been talking a lot about like, asking and just, and it's okay to just talk and be open. One thing, I don't know if Nicole talked to us on a previous podcast, but Nicole and I used to go to school together. And one thing Nicole would say is, I want there to be a point where young boys and young men have pads and tampons in their backpack, and people who identify as female feel comfortable going up to them and asking them for a pad or tampon.
That's a dream of mine.
It's something that's actually a reality in my life now. Because yes, while I am bisexual, I'm in a relationship with a man. He does have those things for me, just in case I have those unexpected shenanigans. Thank you, my menstrual cycle. You love to be irregular. Damn it. But he does have those things for me, just in case I would need them. It's probably not in the glove box in the car, but it's probably in the trunk. But he does have those just in case I tend to forget. I know that it's a little bit more normalized now in some of my other friend groups who are in heteronormative relationships. But definitely, it's something to consider. Like, my dad still can't go to the supermarket without blushing.
My dad will not walk down the aisle. He will not. Has a wife, has a daughter, has a sister and a mother, will not walk down the aisle because
I wish the other side of the aisle had the men's body wash and puffs, so that they had no choice to go down that aisle.
It's not that he's embarrassed. He kind of laughs. He laughs a little bit about it, because I was down with my dad one time, just because it's like, well, I'm gonna have to anyways at some point, and I kind of need parental supervision, so I'm not just wandering off into the video game aisle eyeing that Halo game. But he'd be like, why would you need these men? Because that was a conversation we had. Why do you have so many products? Like, what is this for? Like, Dad, kind of like not to make this not safe for work, but like, looks like a condom. One size doesn't fit for everybody. You gotta find what fits best for you, right? It's just, it is what it is. So so that's like kind of like a little he's like, ooh, oh my gosh, really? It's like, yeah, like you have a wife. You have a wife, and I am here. I'm your eldest kid.
It's also like going into the whole, and I understand my dad is a little bit older than I am. I'm not going to say how old my dad is, but
no, a little older gentleman.
My dad is like in the Generation X, so and I'm a part of Generation Z. So there are some years between us, and I bring up that generation because they were taught, and also I think a little bit of the generation below and above were taught, you don't need to tell them that. They don't need to know anything about that. They don't even know about your period. And so it's like, if that's just the mindset that's been instilled, that they should know, you should just like be in silence about this and sit in a corner with your period, then you're going to create this environment where, one, I feel like I'm less than, and it's uncomfortable for me to be around you, and then two, I can't talk to you if I'm feeling uncomfortable, or if something's going on, the assumption is, oh, you're on your period. No, I could just be having a really bad day, but because you haven't been socialized and because you haven't been taught that these are the fluctuations, because yes, I go through mood swings because the hormones in my body are literally changing. It's what happens. And so, I don't blame my dad, that he can't go down the aisle in a lot of.
Oh, we lost her.
Like that too. Well, like,
okay, she's back.
I can't see it. No, thank you. And I just have to remind myself that that's the way that he was socialized. But I choose to socialize my brother of, well, when I was using pads and tampons, it's like, hey, you need to be comfortable with this. Hey, this is what it is. And he's really great at accepting and understanding it. And for him, it's just like, cool, she needs that, just like people need water. And I love that. And that's really important.
It's something I know that like you said, you mentioned your dad's from literally another age group, like a completely different age group. But that's something that we don't also think about when it comes to our parents, is that we want, not all of them could change some certain mindsets. Like when it comes to being open about things like our bodies or sexualities or interests or anything like that. I mean, there's that like my parents have made some offhanded comments about like who I date or who I could love and all those things. And it's like, yes, it's not okay, it's not appropriate now, but that was for them at that time, and those were instilled into them. And my mom and I had a fight a couple of months ago when it comes to like, we're from a different time. That was the thing. Like, it was hammered into her, but then I would shout back, obviously in near tears, like crying, ugly crying, like, it's like, but why wouldn't you change for me? And then it's like, I'm also asking too much, also because it's been so ingrained. I could only, like, I should be okay with whatever they can give you. So it's that kind of like push and pull too. It's like, what are we able to accept and what are we able to just leave it as is? So that's something that is difficult, especially from people who are from an older generation than us. It's easier now with people who are younger than us because it's a little bit more normalized. It's something that we're now more open to talking to, but it's definitely harder. I would say for me personally, sometimes it's just harder to talk to someone who's older than me, and then they're so deep set in their ways, and it's just like, I'm not trying to change you. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to ask you to at least be more open to talking
adaptable
with me. Yeah, be a bit more adaptable. Am I saying you need to do a complete 180 for me? No. Just don't, like, if anything, like, tone down whatever you're joking about so I don't feel less hair triggered to being angry or annoyed. But it's something that we could work up to, kind of like cleaning your room. Like, all right, you don't have to clean your whole room in one day. It's like, all right, at least take out the bin in your room, put your sheets on, which I definitely did not, so ignore that.
You're so cute.
But like, start gradual, because I think sometimes when I have talks with people who are younger with me and they demand a lot of things from me, it's just like, hold on there for a moment. That's like, let's wind back there, young whippersnapper. Like, we'll get to that, but like, let's make a roadmap for me so I could figure it out too.
Yeah,
because sometimes that's
I mean, like, there's definitely a level to it though, because there definitely is people who are trying, then people who are like, I'm never gonna change.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a fine dance, because like you said, there will be those who will be like, no, you're just wrong and I'm right. It's like, you're just a explicit word here. But it's like, I really encourage those who have age gaps between their siblings, like even siblings who have like 10 years apart from each other, different times, even like if your sisters too, it's just like, oh my god, like, what did you do then and how's it different to now, and then what can we do about it? Like, even my sister and I, we have 2 years in between us, but there's still that gap between the two. It's like, she's more tech savvy than I do. Like, I didn't know what Canvas was, definitely don't know how to use Instagram filters or Snapchat. Like, I tried Snapchat and then I couldn't keep up with the
Snap streaks.
They're seeing there the streaks. I tried TikTok, tried the dances. At least I could do the dances, but stuff like that.
So
like
cute.
her 2 year head start on those things annoys me because it's like, wow, I'm at that point where I'm just like, I can't keep up. But I mean, I'm not gonna write. I was like, oh my god, she's a TikTok user. Like, what is she doing with her life? I'm not gonna do that. No.
It's okay. I will do that to my brother. We are 6 or 7 years apart. He's 16. I don't mind saying you're gross. I don't mind.
Social media, it's too much sometimes, and then they put everything on. Like Instagram updated recently, couldn't function. The button that was used to post is now the shop. No, the reels, and I'm just like, okay.
I think it's reels and shop, but it's like, oh, so you want me to buy things?
Yeah. When did my Instagram became a Pinterest?
Right?
Not smashing the companies, but don't dox me for it later. I'm just saying. Some of those things.
Come on, Mark Zuckerberg, get it together.
No, it's just some of those things that we do have to consider, like even within our gaps, and we can learn something from our younger and older counterparts, and then as much as we can learn a lot from, especially people who are older than us, but we are not entitled to stick to their ways because there are some things
we can't stick to those ways anymore.
History's always evolving, but there are also things that could be improved at the local level, even at the interpersonal level and intrapersonal level as well. So that is something too. That's my long soapbox.
I thought to say, the more you know.
The more. There's a way I could put this in the title. That should be.
If you could add my rainbow, that'd be great too.
That should be the episode title of today. The more you know.
Yes, there you go.
Found my title. Oh my gosh, found it. But since we are coming, I don't know how long it's been, but we're gonna go ahead and start our close our boxes. So before I tire our viewers of how much I could talk. Jeez, like I told you, I want
a podcast.
No, it's like I told you I wanted to become a comm major, but then keeping up with the STEM course load, it just never worked out. So can I have my fake honorary comm degree? Because
of course, if you can pass capstone, right, Minnie?
I do like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Ray.
I mean, aside from that, my two lovely distinguished guests, because I know Elise likes that. My two distinguished guests. Any last comments, concerns, feelings, thoughts, issues that you would love to discuss now, or forever hold your peace?
It's just been wonderful. I would also my to release back out. Last statement would be to give the cup a try. That's how I
Fair
would
enough.
Just give it a try. Just don't even go to tampon. Go from your pads to cup.
Fair enough.
Also, it was so nice to see you both. And I also wanted to give a special shout out to Elise for graduating.
She's finally done. Thank God.
And an educated Black woman, no less. So
thank you.
Major props to you.
Yes, and I'm applying for grad school.
Yep.
So anyone on the selection board for Masters of Public Health at USC, SDSU, or UCLA likes this podcast.
Yes.
Please take me to your program.
Hashtag Black Excellence, because I know that's
they would be lucky to have you. They would be lucky to have you. I want you to come join me at USD, but I guess that's not an option for nonprofit with me and Aya, or Aya and I.
But I would love to volunteer. I love to volunteer.
Perfect.
I'm taking your time, so technically you are helping me and Aya.
There you go. You are volunteering.
You're volunteering your time about an hour or two with me.
Yes.
Is that the end of your soapbox?
I'm good. I now step off.
You step. All right. You step on.
I am stepping on my soapbox to say, as Nicole said, give the cup a try. Also, just reiterating to support our trans people as much as we can. And to try to be a little bit more open-minded. I know it's really hard once everyone has privilege, And, you know, it doesn't have to be you being able-bodied, but everyone has some form of privilege. And, you know, if you can help someone, do what you can. If it means that, you know, you have an extra $20 and you don't need it and someone does, give it. If you have a little extra money during this holiday season, give it to Fulfilling Destiny, because there are a lot of people who are currently on the street and who need these sanitary products. Or give it to your local LGBT center. You know, learn up about period cups and why some people feel comfortable saying the word menstruator instead of, you know, females who menstruate, because not everyone who's female menstruates. Yes, and as much as I love, you know, the Amy Schumer ad about making people comfortable about tampons, again, not all females menstruate. So, you know,
right.
It's just really important that we try to push for inclusivity. But I know, sadly, it is baby steps, and, you know, it's making people feel comfortable about women before they feel comfortable about trans folks. And that shouldn't be the way that it is. And I don't agree with that. But sadly, this looks like the way that it's going. So yeah, I would say give the period cup a try. Find what size works for you, and find what monetary amount works for you. You know, if you can save a little extra money, like I do, I suggest it. So yeah, that is my soapbox, and I now step off.
All right. As the host, I get to take the longest time with the soapbox, but I'll try to keep it short. Couple. I have a lot of practice. I have 11 episodes worth of practice. All right, so couple of things. So we learned today about the different type of menstrual products that are out there for those who menstruate. We got pads, panty liners, we got tampons, and we got cups. And we semi-demonstrate with the YouTube way of like showing it to the camera on how to do it. But like we've all said here before, that you need to find one that fits right for you. Sometimes the small might be too small, the big might be too big. So trial and error. Yes, it does take some money to do that also. Trial and error to find what fits best for you. And nobody's going to tell you to use which one. Just find the one that fits best for you. If you want to keep it plain and simple, or if you want to be like literally like hands-free, no hassle, don't think about it, that's also an option too as well. We also talked a little bit about why we don't offer some of these products for those experiencing housing insecurity. Well, you have that now. Access to clean water or wipes or even a facility is part of the reasons why we don't offer those. So it's just the way of the world right now. Maybe in the future, when we have more temporary housing or just housing in general to fit these needs, then that could be addressed at another time. We also talked about being a little bit more open to our trans friends out there, especially those who are transitioning, who may be needing to use these products, just to keep discretion aside. Also, it's, again, none of our business to know what they want to do with their bodies, but remember, being allies and being open is, as best as we can, is the best way we could show our support. And that is just basically all you need to know about. If they want to tell you, they will. If they'll tell you at a later time, don't be butthurt, because maybe you were just not the person to tell at the current moment for whatever reason that they have. So it's not kind of like, thanks for the invites, just know, like, thank you for even telling me. Yeah. I want to honor your story. Let me honor it whenever you feel ready to. Right? And then we also yeah. And then also we talked about some generation gaps of what we could have learned from our elders and what we could learn from our youngers. Remember, if anything, if we learn in this pandemic, take the time to talk as best as you can. Try to be patient. A lot of raised voices could go. And sometimes it's just as simple as like one thing at a time. It's baby steps, and sometimes we hate going slow, but sometimes going slow works. But it doesn't have to be that way. But, you know, that's ironically the way the world is at this current moment. And then actually, since now I think about it, I'll try to nail this in 3 minutes. We are now coming to the end of the year. The end of the year. We made it.
Goodbye 2020. Woo!
Goodbye 2020. And also is that we're still we're still here. That I've had people that I could check in with every week, that so far in my life nobody is missing. And that to me is the most important part, especially since we are in a virtual world now to an extent, right? The only way I could reach certain people is through a text message, their social media accounts, or anything else. This is where I get teary-eyed. No, but I'm honestly really truly glad that all of us are still here talking, because I don't know what that type of feeling would be if I got a message. It's like, oh, I have COVID, and then something else. Oh, I had to be careful about that. Something else goes awry, and I don't want that on anybody. And even though I know there's a big spike going on, it's just, let's just be careful, let's be mindful, and so we don't miss anything else when we eventually reintegrate back into society together as a group.
Yes.
But that's just
I
that's
love
it. It's my Christmas gift for everybody. Be safe, be healthy, be happy. Or Christmas gift and Hanukkah for those
let's say holiday gift.
And Kwanzaa.
And Kwanzaa, yeah.
Just
so
say
for those,
holiday, you get everyone.
get everybody. For those who experience their favorite holiday days, I know there are multiple days. Until then, stay safe, everybody. I love you all. And then that's the end of my soapbox. So till next episode, which is next week, I will be having a guest who I actually never formally met. So it's from my study hall group. So that'll be something to look forward to. I know I mentioned this before. So I'll be using her alias and not her real name, because for 8 months, that's all I knew her by. So this will be a very exciting time, because we literally only heard each other's voices for the first time last week.
Wow.
Everything else has been silent correspondence, but we could see each other's face cam. Yes, Mom, I'm coming. There we go. All right, everybody. Until next episode. In 3, 2, 1.